This Bubba Exotic Motorsports production is brought to you in part by Blog Talk Radio, host of our #1 rated internationally syndicated automotive podcast as heard on the Bubba's Motorsports Network, and by Schumacher Chevrolet, SchumacherAuto.com, Schumacher.com, SchumacherAuto.com, and finally by Robertson Racing LLC.com, RobertsonRacingLLC.com. Hey, good morning, Bub. We're coming to you live from inside.
Yeah, well, what were you going to call me there? It sounded like you were going to say something with a D.
No, I couldn't figure out good morning because I was thinking after. Good morning, Bub. We're coming to you live from inside the main studios here at Bubba's Exotic Motorsports. How you doing today?
I'm doing
Tell
really
the truth.
Good. Hey,
Tell
no,
the truth.
No, I'm doing
Tell
really
everybody
good so
out there
far,
the
but
truth.
Let me tell you, it has been since 7:30 this morning. Wide open throttle, and it's only, what, 11 right now?
Welcome to the life of being a rock star, man. You know, it's been a crazy day, that's for sure. A lot of things going on here at Bubba's Exotic Motorsports.
Yep.
A lot of great stuff happening today. Today we're going to talk a little bit about air conditioning, aftermarket air conditioning.
Yep. Which you have to have, by the way.
In South Florida, it's certainly nice to have, right? And we're also joined, Bub, we always have people on the set with us. We're also joined today by Dominique, who's our personal clothier. You've heard him over on our podcast from the Men's Warehouse. So he's off the set with us, joining us today. The crowd can't see him back there. But when we're not here, he's the one who keeps us looking really good, man.
He's here because he's got a broken axle shaft.
That sounds dirty.
No, seriously.
Really?
Not kidding.
I heard he had a bad hub, too.
It is. Bad hub and shaft. Both broken. Terrible.
That could get out of control, couldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Hey, Bub, let's talk a little bit about it. We often hear that people don't have air conditioning in the older cars. As a matter of fact, it was an option only in some of these older cars. I know through even the 80s it was an option only. It didn't come standard with like power door locks, power windows, power seats like we have today in today's vehicles, right? So often you had, back in those days, you still had the same temperatures, but you had moms driving their kids to the stores, the grocery stores, while dad was working, because it took one parent at home and one parent to work back in those days.
I feel like you're getting really deep into this air conditioning scenario.
It's true though, man. We're laying a little bit of history, right? So you had the car, but you didn't have the air conditioning.
No, you have to have it for sure. I mean, even in the most basic of basic cars today, and I'm talking junk boxes that are $10,000 brand new off the showroom floor, they come with AC.
They come
like
with
it is the most basic accommodation you get now in any part of life.
It is.
It's like being an English bulldog. You have to be regulated between 65 and 78. You can't fluctuate.
You can't vary it, can
No.
you?
So my house is always 72, freezing.
I know, but that's a very spoiled English bully. So, Bub, let's talk a little bit and share with people what can we do with the older vehicles that didn't come stock with air conditioning.
In today's world, what can't you do, honestly? I mean, with what's available from a product standpoint, especially today's technology, what's on the market, the availability, we can literally, for almost every car, I'm talking some really rare stuff back into like 20s, 30s, 40s, which is really old, really hard to get stuff for, we can get some form of 134A, which is modern AC. We can get any setup for almost any ride. I mean, essentially we can. And, we couple that with our design and skill set plus all of our AC components in our charge machines, you're going to have something that's just guaranteed beautiful.
So, Bub, let's talk about, there's two things that we should probably cover from a technical perspective. When you're dealing with this, what kind of upgrades are made to the motor itself, if any, from an external standpoint, okay? And what things need to be added to make the system work inside the cab for the comfort of the owner?
Well, there's a lot of things. AC systems are fairly complex in today's world. There's a lot of sensors and switches and relays that all communicate with one another to make it as efficient as possible and blow as cold as it possibly can. That's what everyone wants. That's why you do AC. You want it cold. So there's a lot of components out there, everything from the condenser that mounts in front of the radiator to your dryer to high pressure lines, low pressure lines to the blower motor assembly that mounts onto the dash if it's just a retrofit kit. There's so many things out there that mount together and all incorporate one system. So it is a very, very reliable and efficient system that blows perfect. I mean, it's you couldn't ask for any more when you go with some of today's kits. This one, for example, the 63 Thunderbird, we're doing a 134A kit from Classic Auto Air. And it's just going to be a completely stock looking installation when it's done. All the way down to, you know, like what I do with a lot of these aftermarket kits, whether it be classic auto air, vintage air, any of these, you know, custom air kits, all of these things I take and I do the compressors in, you know, the actually like a matte silver, like a polished finish almost.
Sure.
I take them and I'll literally sand them all down and I shoot them in a satin black and actually put factory stickers on them so that they look like they were part of this car, in this case, and all numbers matching 63 Thunderbird. The guy wants it very clean and looking like it should look.
And I think that attests, Bub, to a lot of the way you build. Everything is authentic. Everything is perfect. Everything is 100%. You like things to look stock. You like them to be right. You don't slam stuff together. You don't just bang it in the engine bay. You take the time to make it right.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, it takes a long time to get the system set up, but, you know, when you get it all done, it's exactly what you want it to be, and it's perfect every time.
And, you know, I think you'll see a lot of that out there at BubbasExoticMotorsports.com. That's BubbasExoticMotorsports.com. And people can go out and kind of interact with us and see that. You can see all the videos on our YouTube channel here filmed in 4K. You can subscribe out there and do that and kind of work with it. It gives you a real good flavor of what it is that you're doing out there. But when you talk about doing these kinds of upgrades, air conditioning, the old theory used to be that if you had air conditioning, the car ran hotter. Okay?
No.
You have to get into cooling system changes, especially on a carbureted application. You've taught us all that.
I mean, let's just talk common sense here for a minute.
Okay.
So, I understand that, you know, in today's world, when you have a car that is brand new off the showroom floor, you have twin fans on it, twin electric fans. 99% of vehicles have two fans.
In this case, it doesn't.
It doesn't. It has a single fan on it.
And why would it have two fans, Bob?
Well, you usually have one that operates the cooling system, one that operates the air conditioning system.
Okay.
So in case there is an increase in temperature, both fans will come on and cool the engine down and maintain its operating efficient temperature. So if you just talk basics for a minute, what really are you adding to today? And I know I'm going to get a lot of frustrated people out there that would argue this till you're blue in the face. If you have a car that runs 185, 190, 195 all day long, any day of the week, hot, cold, summer, winter, doesn't matter. If that's its operating temperature and you add a modern AC unit on that car, how much friction are you really trying to create, and where are you really going to gain that much increase in temperature to where your car is going to start overheating?
So that's an old wives' tale for people who
Big
didn't
time.
have their vehicles in good operating condition.
It's literally the same thing as adding another accessory to the front of your V-belt system in this case, that you're just putting a very small amount of friction on it. Now, when you're running the old, I think they're called, what, the A6 compressors, that were, I mean, 14 inches long. These are huge
A6 was
compressors.
the old R12 system.
They were huge compressors. They took a lot of drag. I mean, those could literally pull 20, 25 horsepower off the front of your motor because of how much drag they created. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, where is that causing any internal engine heat through your cooling system? It's creating more drag on your motor. That's what it's doing. But it's not changing the speed at which the fan turns on the front of the motor. It's not changing the flow of what your water pump does. It's not changing how much your thermostat flows and when it opens and closes, 160, 180, 195, 210, whatever it is you're running. It doesn't change the size of your radiator and how it's flowing. Nothing at all. It creates drag on the front of the motor, which was a huge, huge misconception all the way across the board.
All the way across the board.
All the way. People think that, oh, I turn my AC on, my car goes to 240. You got something else wrong, dude.
Right.
It's just simple.
Right. Are there any other considerations people should take into, you know, to their mind as they're kind of planning this out, as they're kind of thinking this through and everything?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, especially in a carbureted application. So, and this kind of ties into the drag of the compressor. So naturally, when you create friction on the front of your pulley system, on carbureted especially, there's nothing to monitor and change your actual idle speed. So if your idle, let's say, is 600 in drive, a lot of cars are 600, 700, 800, in that range in drive, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have an AC system that you add onto the front of that motor, when you turn that system on and the compressor engages, you're going to create drag. That's naturally going to take whatever your engine idle is in drive and pull it down even more, 50, sometimes 75, sometimes 100, depending on the car. So if it pulls it down, what you can actually use is an electronic step-up solenoid that bumps the throttle plate open just a touch to bring that RPM back up so that you never really have a difference in engine RPM, whether it's AC on, AC off, and that's really what you want at the end of the day. Especially on carbureted, where there's no electronic sensors that monitor what's going on and nothing changes by itself. You have to just rely on what your carburetor's doing.
So, Bob, is it also important then, because we know that engines produce heat, okay? Especially if you've got a carbureted application that doesn't work right. If it's not jetted properly, it's an aftermarket carburetor, for example. If it's out of adjustment, if it's an OEM or original equipment of the manufacturer carburetor, or is it important that that carburetor be right on time with the ignition so that no additional heat is produced when the air conditioning is running?
Well, definitely. I mean, you have to, that's number one basics in anything with a carburetor. It has to be air, fuel, and ignition have to be dead on in time, whether your base timing's in, your advanced timing's in, your air fuel mixture, the size of your carburetor, all of that stuff comes into play before you even consider air conditioning, power steering, any accessories that are going to create more friction, more drag on the motor. I mean, heck, even the way you tune is going to change the way your car responds off idle depending on your drivetrain setup, what your torque converter stall is. You may have a flat spot if you have too low of a converter. So there's all these different things that come into play if you're not in tune, and that's where all of this older stuff that's not electronically controlled like today's cars, O2 sensors, air fuel mixtures,
Step-up solenoids.
all of this stuff that automatically comes into play in today's cars, this stuff is a lost art, and people are not understanding that you have to still take the time and adjust this kind of stuff and make sure that it all works hand in hand, because it's not naturally going to work hand in hand. You have to make it do that.
Right, right. And you can see more of this at BubbasExoticMotorsports.com out there.
Yep.
And if you have a question, we'll answer it live. Our producer's always watching things, and if we got time at the end of this, we try not to go beyond 10 minutes, we always do, but we'll answer them. And you can also send your questions to sales at BubbasExoticMotorsports.com. I look at that, I monitor everything, and I respond to everybody from around the world with their questions as well. I do that on a daily basis. Facebook, I do it, and everything like that. Special shout out to Mike McCloskey out there at Joint Training Forces. We got a really nice JTF1, that's right. We'll be talking about this on the podcast. I'll be showing it to you. We got a really nice card from him. He's got a nice kind of surprise coming along to him here shortly, speaking of cars and convertibles. We've intentionally kept that one off the radar until it's our time. You see?
Once it's ready to display,
that's right. And what I really liked is Mike and his crew over there at JTF, they sent us not only a card of thanks, but they also sent us a card, and he knew this would mean something to us because we're military guys, with a nice dog tag on it as well.
Nice.
It's really nice, man.
Nice, that's really cool.
So it was very cool. So Mike, we certainly appreciate it out there.
Definitely.
Bub, we're going to wrap it up, let you get back to work. Miss Outlaw Boutique, msoutlawnboutique.com. How about that, man? We're going to be in there writing for In Jupiter magazine today. We've got to get that done and get that taken care of over there, man. A lot going on right now.
A lot of good stuff going on. Just stay tuned. Check us out, like you mentioned, on the website at BubbasExoticMotorsports.com, where you can literally, the way Matt's got it set up, you can hit our website. That's the main thing to go to now, and you can branch every possible arena, whether it be our YouTube channel, our Instagram stuff that's live updated around the shop 24/7. Well, not really 24/7 because it's like, not really, because we're not here at nighttime, so it's not.
We're still working.
Whatever the numbers need to be, but we're just not, it's like 12/7.
We're still out there working.
Whatever the numbers need to be, but you get what I'm saying. Like, just keep up with it. That's it.
You will. And tomorrow's going to be really exciting, so make sure you join us. We have a 68 all numbers matching 4-speed Camaro that's coming in that you're going to be doing a lot of really cool upgrades on. Big build. The car's in beautiful shape. It's sitting right outside our main facility doors here. And they're working
already has a dent in it, by the way. Let's just talk about that.
I think the producer did it, and I'm going to stick with it.
Somebody did it.
That's exactly what it is.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't.
It wasn't you. Surprisingly, it wasn't this guy.
I'm normally the guy who knocks that stuff around.
All day long. Usually sideswipe an entire wall, though. Like, if you do it, you don't stop.
No, I don't. By the way, I know one of the Marlins managers. In fact, you've been working with a couple of the Marlins baseball players today.
It's been a busy week already.
It's been a busy week.
It's only Tuesday morning, I think.
And one of their managers is bringing up one of his girlfriend's car because she sideswiped something.
Oh, I had to rip the door off. I kept going. At that point, like when you're already in, just keep going. Ride it out at that point.
So we'll keep you posted on that as well. It's going to be pretty interesting there as well. But we're going to jump out of this segment. We got a lot of work to do on this Thunderbird before we get it turned around. The owner just bought a 2017 Corvette that he brought in yesterday, and that's coming in today. That's going to be exciting because you're a certified HP tuner. You're big into this modern performance stuff, man, laying out that horsepower.
Oh, get ready.
And that's going to be really exciting to see you go through that today as well, man. And at some point, we got to squeeze in some lunch here somewhere.
No, I got to go do that now, too.
How's that going to happen?
I don't know.
So, Bob, until tomorrow, man, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us as you do every day. We're honored you're part of our family here. Stay up with us at BubbasExoticMotorsports.com. We're out, Bub, until tomorrow.
Just keep on doing it Bubba style.
Just keep on doing it Bubba style.
All right, I gotta get this thing done.
Let's get it done.
It's like 40-something pages to the instruction booklet.
Was it really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. You have to take the whole dash out.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, because all this trim is one piece.